So from there, you took the decision to move back to Aberystwyth for the latter stages of your career. So how did that move come about?
Yeah, Gary Finley was back then playing for Abra and started to be manager. I came back as a player first. I scored a great goal at Forecasters against Abra down in the DS stand. A header against Finley, would you believe? But I didn't score many headers, but that was the best header I think I ever scored.
A collector's item.
Right behind Finley, and then it went top corner. So I think, he's still got. I think Finley might have thought he's still got a year or two left in him. And yeah, he asked me to come back as a player first. So came back to Abra as a player, but I must say then, yeah, the old hamstrings were going, the groins were going, the Achilles were playing up. So I was very much in and out of the side then. So as a player first, and then took the decision. I was just getting injured all the time. Everyone knows that. By about 34, I'd had enough of the injuries and started to do my coaching badges. And Finley had his assistant manager there at the time. I can't remember his name. But Finley wanted a link between the local players and himself. So he wanted me involved just so some players like to speak to someone rather than the manager. So I came on the management with him and started doing my coaching badges with Gary Lewis. Okay. So we went through the badges together. Yeah. So it was doing that coaching badges with Gary, my C license, B license, and then being Gary Finley's assistant manager eventually.
A role that you stayed in for a number of years, and with a number of managers as well.
Yes, with Finley first. With Gary Finley first. But again to that European adventure with him as assistant manager. Di Burrows was next. And then obviously your dad, Brian, who I learned a lot from. But we'll get to that in a second.
We'll come on to that in a bit. I was just about to say, I do remember you still pulling on the boots on the odd occasion as well. I remember a substitute appearance at Cardiff Grange Quins in about 2006. So I don't think they were hung up entirely, were they?
The power of being assistant manager, right? We must have been sure that night. So a bit of a cameo appearance.
You've touched on it briefly there. Let's have a talk about the European adventure in 2004 and another Intertoto Cup tie.
Yes, SV Dangerberg, I think it was. Finley had brought in his Liverpool contingent. Great players, by the way. The Spike and John Lawless. Finn himself, and there was the other guy who played Phil Baker. There was those guys along with the locals. Freddie. Buzz was still a player. Paddy was still there. We qualified that way as Europe. And like you say, I was just the manager then, and it was the link between being the local. Sometimes the Liverpool boys couldn't get there. It snowed off or it was rained off, so I would take the local boys training, and it was that sort of role really. It's just the link between the local players and players coming to me rather than speaking to the manager. What can I do here? And with the gaffer, really enjoyed that. And we played in Europe in Latvia, I think. So we played. Did we play at home first? Yeah, I think we played in Newtown first.
Okay.
We played in Newtown for our game there first, and we drew 0-0. But the word around was they had left a few of their better players out of the squad. but we played all right. We challenged. It was 0-0. We went out to Latvia then, and I think the big guns were in, and they caused us problems. And I think it was a 4-0 win for them. But another great experience, as a coach then, going over as assistant manager, getting the players ready, before match, during the match, and another great experience as a coach. Yeah.
Brilliant. And then it was apart from the occasional appearance, it was purely concentrating on the assistant manager and the coaching role, as we said, through a number of managers. So, what were your highlights as assistant manager over that? Must have been about a 6 or 7 year period in the end.
Oh, well, definitely that game. That was definitely a highlight. Then Buzzer came in. We had a good local side then. Buzzer's a great guy. It just didn't work out for him there. He did well, but I think the club were looking to progress further again. And obviously, the great Brian Coyne came in. And that's what I learned the most of. What a great manager, what a great man manager he was. So, from that, what I learned how to man manage players was second to none. And obviously then that Welsh Cup final appearance, which was the euphoria of the semi-final down in Haverfordwest against Carmarthen, to the disappointment of the Bangor game.
And I'll always remember about that period. We had 3 semi-finals in consecutive years in the League Cup. In fact, I think the first one was Caersus, and then it was Llanelli, and then Bangor City earlier that 2009 season. And it just seemed that the club just couldn't take that final step to actually get into a cup final. And then, as you say, that brilliant day at Haverfordwest against Carmarthen Town. So, what are your memories of that day?
Oh, that day again, a great experience from 9 o'clock in the morning when we all met. So they were getting through breakfast, and then jumping on the coach, the 52-seater, going in 2 or 3 buses going down there. And Haverfordwest, that was one of the best pitches in the league. So great for the boys to play there. But yeah, like you say, I think when a couple of goals up, Callaway, I think scored great break. No, was it? Yeah, Callaway scored the back breakaway goal.
Jeff got 2, didn't he?
Yeah, another great player. Who's been an Abra legend in the last few years. And also and then Freddie scoring the winner and then rolling away with his arm up. And then I think I'm running down. There's a shot of me running down the touchline, punching the air from that goal. And then the final whistle, giving Brian a hug, and Freddie coming running over.
I think all of that is caught on camera as well. I think that's on the highlights.
Yeah, I think it is. Yeah. And then reaching the Welsh Cup final, great for the club. Great for Brian, getting them there, and me as an assistant manager. But like Sean said, always tough games against Bangor. We just didn't perform like we could on that day. And I remember Sean saying about Les Davis. You know what I mean? He was a phenomenal player and always scored against Abra, always give us problems. And he was a beast that day, and we got turned over. But I think Tom Bradshaw was on the bench that day, wasn't he? I think.
Yes, Tom. I think Tom came on late in the second half. Yeah,
and he did well.
Yeah.
Another one was probably what if we given him a start? What if we didn't put him on half time? It's because he did do well when he came on, and obviously he's gone on to do big and great things. And but he was only a kid then. I think he was 17 then. I think he was. But disappointing day for the club as well. Just could we have gone one more? Did we perform on the day? No, but another
That
great
could have
day.
been another trip in Europe as well if we'd have won.
Yes, I know. Yeah. So yeah, good days.
But following that, about a year later, you took the decision to move to Australia. So what was behind that move, and what influenced you to make such a change in your life to move quite literally the other side of the world?
Yeah. My sister was still out here. She for 20 odd years. She said, "Come on, you need to come to Australia. You need to come to Australia." I met Angela, my wife, and she wanted to go on holiday and have a look over here. And yeah, so like the Albertown days were coming to the end. I think after your dad left, I think actually Gavin, Al, and I went for the job.
Okay.
To be joint managers at the time, and yeah, we got turned down. They brought in Barry's cousin, Ali Morgan. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it was just the time was right. You know, my job at Figa, I just think it was all sort of like I've been there 20 years. Do I need a change? Yes, I do. And yeah, Angela came over with me. She loved it. And so, right, we're going to make this happen.
Brilliant.
And yeah.
And you've been there ever since?
Oh, I loved every minute of it, got to say. And yeah, we got young Jamie now, which happened in, you know, we moved over here the first year, new job and new house. And then fell pregnant with Jamie. So it was
fantastic.
Certainly life-changing in all aspects. Yeah, but one I wouldn't change for the world. So I've enjoyed every minute of it over here. And, yeah, miss my mum. Miss my mum. I'm a sister, of course.
Absolutely. And we touched on it briefly at the start, but you're still very much involved in football and very much involved in a coaching role. So for those who don't know, can you just talk us through what you're doing at the moment and your recent achievements as well?
Yeah, so I go over here, and like you said, I can't sit still. You know, I do like to try and keep myself a bit fit, so I go out on a run. So I went for a run one night and just bumped into this oval and sat there watching a team play. It was called Hills Brumbies at the time. They were sort of like a decent side over here, and I just watched it. And a guy came over to me and just said, "Oh, are you a dad of one of the boys?" But no, I just moved over here and just watching the session, and we started talking. And he said, "Come and meet the head coach of that Hills Brumby side." And he said, "I've got a gig here for an under-15 side if you want it." So I wanted to keep involved with coaching. Obviously, I was doing my badges. I think I was doing my. I was on the A license then, so I had to keep involved and had to keep on doing my sessions. And they give me a gig, and yeah, I loved it. They under-15 boys, Australian boys, and I'll never forget once I was sort of like I was coaching them. I just feel my way. 10 games have gone in now and into the game, and I've been very, very nice with them, being constructive and you know what we can do to improve at half time. And I saw this one game they were awful, so I said, right, they've been here 10 games now. They're going to have it half time. They're going to have it. So I've gone around each one and said, you as a goalkeeper, you need to start catching, do better. Centre halves, you need to start winning your challenges. Midfielders need to move the ball quicker. Wingers, you need to defend. Strikers, I was going on and on and on, giving a few bloodies here, bloodies there, and I hear them swearing, so they were having it. So anyway, I've laid down all of them, and I've turned round and I've just heard one of the boys whisper, "Anyone know what he just said?" They couldn't understand my accent. So I had a quick deal with them. I turned around and I had to go through it all again, slowly. It was a bit calmer, but yeah, that made me chuckle after. So I was there. I was there for a year, and obviously Jamie came along then. So I thought, oh, look, I'm just gonna have a year off. But even then, after 6 months of Jamie being born, I was having itchy feet. So I'd met a couple of boys and started playing over 35s football.
Okay.
yeah, and over 35s is massive over here. So played a lot of that for 2 or 3 seasons and didn't coach. But yeah, had great fun, getting injured all the time as usual. So, but made many great friends over in Castle Hill up there. But then just wanted to move by the coast. We were in sort of like out suburbs of Sydney then. But wanted to move back to the coast, missing the water. And I actually got a job then up in Gosford, which is up on the central coast here, and live in Womberal, right 2 minutes from the sea. So I was then wanted to get back into coaching, so I had a job at the A-League side, Central Coast Mariners.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah, so with an assistant coach. Yeah. With the under-15s again, with a guy who was head coach. You might know him as a Shrewsbury fan, is Shane Cancel Sherry.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant centre half. Brilliant centre half. Helped get us promoted in 2012 under Graham Turner.
That was him. Yeah. He said scored one of his best goals at Shrewsbury, but he was playing centre mid or something like that, or a right winger or something like that.
I remember it well. It was the first game of the season in 2008 against Macclesfield. About 30 yards out. It was a brilliant goal. I think it was his debut as well.
Is it? Oh, don't tell him that. he still goes on about it, right? So yeah, so he was head coach and I was assistant coach. But Shane has strong beliefs, and he just wasn't getting on with the head coach at the Mariners Youth there. So both he and I walked after during the season, and who was there at the time was the president of Terrigal United Football Club, and I was going to go on with Shane to coach up in the Newcastle League with him there, but Sharon Baxter, who was the president of Terrigal United, said, "You don't want to go travelling up the motorway an hour every Tuesday, Thursday, and come and coach at Terrigal United." And I thought, I just moved up to the area, didn't know anyone, a great chance to meet people and get back involved, but as a head coach. And I took over that role 3 years ago, which
fantastic.
Is great, and loved every minute of it. And the boys are great, but like I say, the first year we were there, we came second in the league. And over here, you run the league up to who becomes sort of like the minor premiers. But over here, the top 5 then go to playoffs to become the actual premiers of the league.
Yeah, so similar to the MLS.
Yeah, definitely so. Yeah. So the first year we come second. In Terrigal's history, so that was good. We're moving in the right direction. We just failed. We come short on that first finals year. But thought we were better for it. The second year again came second to a local team, Killarney, who have been dominant for the last 4 or 5 years. Came second, and again got to finals, but again blew up in finals. Just disappointing not to get to a grand final again, because the club had never made a grand final. So this year again came second again. And thought we were better for it. We had some great players. We'd added some great players, and then we got to our first major final in the 54 history of Terrigal Football Club.
Brilliant.
So the final was last Saturday, and could we go that one game further and win it? And great day at the club. Like you said, I think you've seen it plastered all over Facebook. I think the boys back in Wales are sick of it.
What an achievement, though. What an achievement.
Sorry?
What an achievement.
Yeah, it's history for the club. And it's been great for the club and great for the group of players. I think they're still partying. And,
so what was the score in the final?
We actually won 1-0.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'd say in the playoffs, it was 1-2. They beat us 2-0 in the semi-final, but coming second, you get a second chance to play the winner of 3-4. So we did that and beat the fourth place team. So we were back in the final against Killarney, who turned us over 2-0 a couple of weeks before. But we played well in that game. We had I don't like to moan against referees, but he had an awful game after. He gave him a dubious penalty.
Surely not as bad as some of the ones in the Welsh Premier.
You don't know. There's some bad ones here as well. But yeah, so I was confident going into the game that we played well in that game a couple of weeks earlier, and I was confident going in there that we were going to get a result. And I think it was only we scored a great goal, and we could have scored a couple earlier. But they started getting into the game as well. And I think the 85th minute, I think, I'm panicking here. We were 1-0 up, scored a great goal. And it was only the last 5-10 minutes they're throwing everything into the box. But yeah, we held strong and won our first Premier Championship in 54 years. Proud moment.
Fantastic. So how did you celebrate? You personally, not the team. How did you celebrate yourself?
We're still celebrating. It took me Monday night. We had a function back at a local club, and we were there till 2:30. And then over here they have their sort of like silly Sundays.
Okay.
So there's still COVID rules over here. So you can have 20 people in your house. So myself and Dan Marachi, my assistant manager and reserve grade manager, lives like 100 yards down the road.
Okay.
So we had the whole squad back at our house, 8 o'clock in the morning, the following morning, in the silly Sunday dress up. He had 20, I had 20. I got people in the jacuzzi here drinking beers, and they're drinking 8 o'clock in the morning. And then we swapped over, and then we done a few house calls. So it was nearly straight through all that day Sunday. And,
fantastic. Have you recovered yet?
Some of them kept going on Monday, and it was like, no, have I recovered? No, it's not. No. So we're just planning our end of season trip now in 2 weeks' time. So that's the next swallow.
What you got planned for that then? Where are you off to?
There's a town, so like 2.5 hours up the coast here. So we just jump up there. The squad. So we got a squad of 50. We got a first grade squad, reserve grade squad, and an under 21 squad. So so we managed the 50 players as a squad.
Okay.
And so I think most of those will be on the trip. So it's always an eventful trip, but. Yeah, it's what you play football for, isn't it?
Absolutely. There's one thing that we didn't touch on earlier, which has come up in most of the interviews that I've done so far, and that's the Aberystwyth town bus journey. So we'll just, before I move on to the quick fire questions, what are your best memories of the Aberystwyth town bus journey?
Every single one of them. Honest to God, legendary. It was like from, playing up in North Wales, stopping in Bala to the Spar shop to get your beers, bottles of wine being bought on the way home. I think Sherbs touched it. Some days you would remember coming off the bus. Back in Abra, 10 o'clock, you would just come off the bus and go home. It was like unbelievable. And Sean's touching it, Dyke Caprice, another legend. If you'd won, you'd be at the back of the bus, falling over, throwing drinks and drinking and buying you drinks. And then if you had lost, he would curse you. You're the worst assistant manager. You're the worst player ever put on the shirt for Abra Town. I like to say they're brilliant times. And it doesn't happen over here. Away games, even at youth level, players drive to games. So those times at Abra Town and those bus journeys just stuck in my mind, and great times.
Brilliant. Well, listen, Griff, thanks very much for joining me this morning where you are. I'm conscious that you've got to get off to work as well, so I'll go through these quick fire questions as quick as I can.
Yeah.
So we'll start off with the best player that you played with or managed at Aberystwyth Town.
Look, one player stood out throughout the years, and it has to be, I think, Kevin Morrison. Kevin, that guy should have played pro football. He went to Wolves. He should have been a striker with Stevie Ball at Wolves. I think just didn't work out for him, circumstances, and but that guy was 5'10", 5'11". One headers against guys who were 6'3", 6'4", and just hung there. Just had the just the hang in the air just before when the ball was coming and win headers, and his touch was brilliant. Moaning git, but bloody great player, and yeah, he has to be there. He has to get there.
Yeah, great choice. Great choice.
Yeah.
The second one, someone is running away with this, but I'm not going to tell you who it is. Who is the worst trainer at Abra?
You know what? I'm going back to the same player I just said. It's Kevin Morrison again. Sorry, it's Kevin Morrison again. The worst trainer, worst whinging about trainer ever. And I'll tell you a story about him. So back in then, I think when Appy was in charge, we would run, the old school then, run from Abertown Football Club, along the prom, through the town, up Penglice Hill, back all the way round to Kevin Clan Hill. We do sprints up there. But Morrison, he was always at the back, right? And there's no way he's going to get on this. So I just fit them, me and Dave Blair, Yammer, Beef, we be at the front. And then Appy would drive along in his Jag, right? Just to see about where he went. He'd be going, beep, well done, boys. But Morrison would be at the back, right? And I remember the time that Appy would pick him up at the bottom of Penglice Hill in his Jag, put him up the hill, around to the top of Kevin Clan Hill, right, and drop him off there, and he would come and do the sprints, right? And he would do the same back to the club. So we'd all said, who's going to be the first back? Morrison at the back, in Appy's Jag, lift home. Unbelievable, worst trainer ever.
I suppose if you're scoring 40, 50 goals a season, you don't need to be a good trainer, eh? Save it for a match day.
He's disappointed with the Jag, to be honest.
So, third question, what's your best overall memory from Abra?
Best overall memory from Abra is packing my boots in a kit bag, going off to play in Malta in that game. The first time I thought, look, this is like being a professional football player here. It's that was second to none. I'll never forget that experience. That was my best experience. Yeah.
And on the flip side, what's the worst memory of your time at Abra?
Worst memory was captaining that side in the Welsh Cup semi-final and not making it. Hugely disappointed. But then also that as an assistant manager, that Welsh Cup final loss against Bangor, gutted. Yeah. Those two of my worst memories. Yeah.
Sum up your time at Abra in 3 words.
Simple. Football, Europe, beer.
Brilliant. I'm just going to throw a question in here as well that's not actually on the list. So, working at Figar, you've obviously had a hand in a lot of the kits over the years. What was your favourite Aberystwyth Town kit?
I'm not sure if I had it out because on our Silly Sunday day last week, we had to wear sort of teams around the world.
Right.
So I chose Wales for our 5 players. So there was 5 players in 2 players in Wales kits, but then I had I was supposed to wear my Aberystwyth Town shirt, which was my favourite. And give me 2 seconds. I'm not sure if it's here. It is here. So this was my favourite Abertown kit. It was the Canterbury one.
People think we've set this up. We absolutely haven't. But that's the 125-year anniversary one, isn't it?
Canterbury, that was the best kit ever.
Yeah, that's a lovely kit, that one.
Yeah, it was great. And I was supposed to wear that out last Sunday, but I had to wear my terrible one in the end. Do you know what I mean? It was, well, that was a great shirt. Yeah.
Brilliant, great choice. And finally, what's your all-time Aberystwyth Town five-a-side team?
Oh, tough. I think I could have 11, to be honest. So I would put a goalkeeper in there, and we haven't touched on this, but Will Evans. Will Evans was a great goalkeeper. If I have to have a goalkeeper, it would be him. I think he went off to Charles in a couple of seasons, couple of years at Chelsea to try and make the grade. I think it was just his height that let him down, but the guy in goal was phenomenal. Shot stopper. Just should have played more for Abra. But yeah, he was a great goalkeeper for Abra as well. So he would go in goal. Defenders then, coming to defenders. Say if I had to put a defender in, look, Freddie's up there, but it's five-a-side. Freddie's not a five-a-side player. There's 11 aside, Freddie be in there, but he's not a five-a-side player. And then Shawnee as well. Got to mention Shawnee, they just don't make the cut because there's one guy, Nigel Nicholas. Nigel Nicholas, he was a left back for Abertown, and so cool on the ball, and he was a great level. He just glide past players and attack well and defend well. So he gets my spot as a defender. Midfield wise, there's only one guy I looked up to as a youth player, and that was Donald Kane. Okay. So he gets my nod as a midfielder in there, and he was a great box-to-box player. You know, he could head the ball. He could score goals, and just a great Abra legend. Yeah, so absolutely. He gets my spot in there as well, along with a certain Lee Jenkins. Lee Jenkins played for Penryn, but he had a few games at Abra. But the talent of that guy, he was released. He got injured playing for Villa. I think he was on Villa's books and got injured. But a guy, I had to spell at Penryn with him, and he had a few games for Abra. But the guy was a phenomenal player, and he just had the same dummy that would sell players and put them on the backside every time. And his vision on the ball, his skill on the ball was just far advanced for any player in the area at the time. So he gets a nod in there as well. And then strikers, like I just said, the spot has to go to Kevin Morrison. Yeah. The guy's an Abra legend, and
but there's no training involved with this five-a-side team.
No training. You can get around the pitch as well, and they'll go Griff, defeat, to grief. How many times am I going to tell you? Defeat. I'm going to tell that to every player. God, you could know. But great. But and I got to mention, Gavin Allen, Ryan Nichols. They'd be on the bench with Sean and Freddie. Sure. Gav was a great finisher, one of the best finishers the clubs have, and one-on-one, he wouldn't miss. Just didn't have the work rate. Gav, you've got to put those yards in now. I hope he's saying that to his players. Got to put in the yards. But great player, a bit of a lazy git as well. And then Ryan Nichols, another great player, played for Abra, and again tore defences apart, knew where the goal was, but he had the work rate as well to go with it. And it was a joke, like Ryan Nichols had the work rate. Gav was a lazy bugger, but Gav, I scored 20 goals. That's all you say. I scored 20 goals. Just give me the ball. So,
brilliant.
So that would be my five-a-side team. Yeah,
superb. Thanks very much. And you've mentioned Gavin Allen there. So are you still keeping in touch with what's happening at the club at the moment and the work Gav's doing with his team at the moment?
100%. I go to Abra's scoreline every weekend. Sometimes it's on live update on live scores. And, I'll leave a flick over there when I'm on the couch here. So chuffed for Gav to have the gig. Very good friend of mine. We do keep in touch. like you say, he's busy and busy, not often enough, as you know. But funny enough, he's just sent me a message this morning. He's down in the A-List with Timmy Cahill, and he's got Timmy Cahill to send me a message. Congratulations, Martyn and Terrigal United.
Wow, fantastic.
So I'm just going to forward that to the club now. And
that's brilliant.
Yeah. So yeah, we keep in touch, and like you say, when we pick up the phone, it's like old times. And those are times I miss. I can sit down, just have a beer with the boys, and reminisce with old times, and roll back the years. But it's been happy and fond memories of Aberystwyth. Love coming back there. Love seeing the people. Love going down to watch a game there. And hopefully after this COVID rubbish is finished, I can jump on a plane and come up and watch Gav on the sidelines there.
Brilliant. Well, we'll all look forward to seeing you when you do get the opportunity to come back across. Griff, thanks so much for joining me this morning, as it is for you across there. Really enjoyed the chat and reliving those Aberystwyth time memories. And just on behalf of everyone at the club, congratulations on your achievements this season. We're all really, really pleased for you. And as I said, we'll look forward to seeing you soon.
Thank you, Paul. Great to speak to you. Great to catch up. You got me thinking about old times there and doing a bit of research. Because, like I say, at least I got a better memory than Sean James.
Absolutely.
And say hi to your dad for me as well.
I certainly will do.
Give him an email soon.
Thanks very much, mate. Cheers.
Good, Paul.